Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. As-salatu was-salamu ala Rasul al-Kareem. Amma ba'd. My dear respected brothers and sisters in al-Islam, Assalamu alaikum. This third part of the YouTube post will clarify some of the doubts which very few Muslims have spread. Before I commence, I want you all to know that we have been thanked for our efforts by the vast majority of Lutonian Muslims and Muslims up and down the country. They have thanked us for something which they believe that they themselves should have joined and done, and we hope for their participation in future events. However, from amongst the Muslims, there is that tiny minority which I spoke about in the previous YouTube posts, who are upon this methodology of khuruj, this methodology of the Khawarij. We do not say about them that they are the Khawarij, but what we say about them is that they are upon the methodology of the Khawarij, who were the first group who split away from Islam. What I'm going to present to you now are 5 major points, or accusations, or griefs, or beefs if you want to put it, that they have with us since last Friday after Jummah. The first of their claims and their accusations is they say that we had attributed the label of moderate Muslims to ourselves. This I would like to refute, because it was the media that used this term moderate, not us. If one of our colleagues had used the word moderate, if that had happened, it is incumbent upon every Muslim, before he wants to accuse or say the word or put a bad light to the word, is that they have a good suspicion about the situation, and they contact him and ask him, did you say this? And also, if you said this, what did you mean by this? Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, he said, it is not permissible for anybody to carry another person's statement in a bad light, regardless of how it looks, until he first establishes what that person meant by his statement. This is the word of Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah. So, oh you Al-Muhaajiroon who claim you are Salafi, where is your understanding of this? Allah said in the Quran, in Surah Nur, check verse number 12, and if only the Muslim men and the Muslim women were to, when they heard the accusation, they put a good light to the situation, then perhaps the fitna would not have harmed them. That's the meaning of the translation. And what it is telling us is that the Muslims in general should put a good light to the situation before accusing. Having said that, there is no harm in moderation. Islam as a whole is moderation, from beginning to end. We Muslims are all moderate Muslims, because the Quran is moderate, the Sunnah is moderate. It does not have extremism, nor does it have neglect. Based upon this, in this term, yes, we're moderates. This is what Allah has asked us to call ourselves, when He told us to follow the middle path, the straight path, the balanced path. All these are terminologies which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had used in the Quran. So because of that, all Muslims are moderate, as long as they follow the Quran and the Sunnah upon the understanding of the Salaf as-Salih. However, we do know and we are fully aware that the media use this word moderate Muslims to their own advantage and to harm the Muslims. This is why we abstain from using the word moderate. But we cannot be held responsible if the media themselves use the word moderate. For example, today they're calling us moderates in this particular issue, and we are the moderate people in this particular issue. We are upon the moderate path in this particular issue, because those who we are against went to extremism, and those who don't even forbid the evil at all have gone into neglect. However, if it comes to a situation like, do you condone and accept homosexuality and lesbianism, then we will say no, we don't. So then they will call us the extremists, and they will find another set of Muslims who will agree with them, and then they will call them the moderates. This is how the media works. We are fully aware of their plots and plans, and we understand that they are very irresponsible. But in this particular situation, of what we had done on that Friday was very carefully orchestrated to make sure that the media only report good. And we have had nothing but good, and we have had comments that are good, and people have thanked us up and down the country, from Muslims, my brothers, from Muslims, let alone the non-Muslims. The second point I wanted to cover, another one of their claims and accusations, is they say that one of our colleagues from the Islamic Center had said, we have been fighting extremism for you, meaning he said that to the non-Muslim reporters trying to get a message out to the wider non-Muslim society that we have been fighting extremism for you. This was a misquote. The brother never said this, and the reporter had added this from himself, or he may have misunderstood the words of our colleague. But we have been fighting extremism for everybody, for the Muslims first and foremost, and thereafter for the non-Muslims. That is the reality. Because why? Because we have been at the receiving end of their extremism. If you were to understand just a fraction of the end result of what their extremism is calling to, you would be with us and join us in our fight against them. And I will give you a small, just a small nubda example, small example of the far-reaching effects of their extremism. They called us munafiqs. We are Muslims, but they called us munafiqs. They called our Islamic Center the center of nifaq. They called me a mushrik. They called me a munafiq. They called me a kafir. They called me a salat, and many other colleagues. They are 5 or 6 people, or 12 max, and we are how many hundreds? What do you think is the end result of that name calling? If I am a munafiq, a kafir, a disbeliever because of what I've done, you saw 200 people out there backing me and with me, and I was with them and they are with me. So now by default you're going to have to put that same label on them 200 people. So now you have made takfir, or you have taken out of the religion of Islam 200 Muslims, or maybe 300. And what about their wives who support them? Are you ready to take them out as well? And what about their children who support them too? Are you ready to take them out of Islam as well? This is the far-reaching effect of the takfir that you people are upon. Ponder, think, reflect about what we are saying. Take heed, because Islam has not come to take masses of people out of this religion and Islam. And on the same note, when you make this takfir and you take these people out of Islam, what have you benefited from this? How have you helped the Muslims? And how have you helped yourself? The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that whoever said, "Oh kafir," to another Muslim, then one of them is indeed a kafir. Imam al-Nawawi, who explained Sahih Muslim, he explained this hadith, and he said that this curse, when you say "Oh kafir," goes up to the heavens and it comes back down, and if the one being called a kafir is not befitting of that, then it comes back on the one who said it. Oh dear brother, are you ready for this? Are you really truly ready to stand before Allah and say, yes, he is a kafir? Take heed, reflect and think. The third point which they accuse us of, which they claim that we have exited al-Islam because of, is they say, and they quote the words of our colleague,